Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about the fate and indeed the winding down of the two most important criminal prosecutions against Donald Trump, those that have been brought by the Department of Justice as handled by Special Counsel Smith. Now, we've known for quite some time that this was one of the tangible stakes of the election, because if Trump won the presidency, he would be empowered, and this under even conventional theories of executive power, not straining to have aggrandized executive power and have that tested by the Supreme Court. He has the power as head of the executive branch to simply order the Department of Justice to file a paper with the courts saying as to each case, the January 6th case now in front of Judge Tanya Chutkan, and the Mar-a-Lago case now in front of the 11th Circuit, more on that later, saying, never mind, we are simply closing down this case. It becomes a dead letter. Trump walks. He wins his outlandish gamble, and though plainly guilty of highly serious crimes, he gets away with them. And indeed, his spokespeople and he are taking the election as a supposed popular verdict or decision that they don't want. The public doesn't want these cases to go forward. They want what they're referring to as the criminalization of the federal law to end. That's, of course, a highly slanted, tendentious way of putting it, in cases in which it's clear that Trump's conduct was very serious, very grave, and very much what would have been charged if anyone else had done it, and indeed still may. A very important point here to keep in mind is what happens to all the people Trump acted with on January 6th, the Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani's of the world, and in Mar-a-Lago, his helpers and co-defendants down there, Carlos de Oliveira. Will he simply pardon them and put a stop to those? As of now, not yet, but why should we expect anything otherwise than a promiscuous and entirely self-centered use of the pardon power? Okay, Jack Smith knows all this. And therefore, the question becomes what to do with these cases, because while he could, right now, Donald Trump is the president-elect. He has no special status, nothing more than he would have had as a candidate. And certainly Smith could, if he chose, simply push forward, advance the case if he can, until January 20th when Trump comes in and shuts it down. Trump already has said he would fire Jack Smith within 2 seconds, and tellingly to me, in saying that Trump invoked the immunity decision, making it clear, in other words, he can do whatever the hell he wants, even if it would otherwise be criminal, if done not by the president, because the Supreme Court has given him this very broad get-out-of-jail-free card. Okay, but so Jack Smith, knowing all these things, really has no purpose in trying to push things forward, with one major exception. The dismissal by Eileen Cannon of the case against Trump on statutory grounds that Jack Smith lacked authority. That's something that engages the Department of Justice's interests far more broadly than simply Donald Trump. They want to vindicate that case. They want Cannon to be reversed, and their ability to work with special counsels in the future is on the line, as is the substantive construction of the law under which, or in the different laws under which Jack Smith was appointed. So every other court has accepted the proposition that the DOJ has the authority under any of 3 or 4 statutes to appoint a special counsel. Only Judge Cannon has said otherwise, and that opinion is now in front of the 11th Circuit. the opinion is wrong, I'm sure, in the view of the Department of Justice, in the view of most people, and they would like to get the 11th Circuit to so hold. It's a bit of a timing issue and even a game of chicken, because Trump's final brief hasn't been filed yet in the 11th Circuit appeal. And then when would the 11th Circuit set oral argument and issue its decision? If Trump is able to scuttle the case before that, then there's nothing for the 11th Circuit to decide on. And in that instance, that ugly opinion by Eileen Cannon, contradicting every other court, including, in the best construction, the U.S. Supreme Court in the Nixon case, just stands out there as a possible sort of aggrandizement of the president, and all kinds of mischief and all kinds of undermining of DOJ authority and judgment, really. So they want to get rid of that, and that's part of the thing they're considering. Otherwise, there's no real sense in trying to advance the ball in either of the two cases, which are doomed to be shut down and shortly. But one big question remains: will Jack Smith prepare a report on either of the cases and give it to Merrick Garland? It's really his call, it appears to me. You could have a back and forth on that under the independent or special counsel regulation that controls his work. If he does give it, he would provide it to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and Merrick Garland would have the discretion to release it to Congress and the public. And Merrick Garland already has indicated that he would release it to the public. So that is a chance for Smith to give a lot of the evidence that he has collected in order to try Donald Trump, a trial that now never will happen. And just as sort of a public record, he can set out the goods that he now has on him. Trump will try tooth and nail to resist that happening, try to invoke his status as president-elect, but that really is no status. He already has promised to make life miserable for Jack Smith after he takes the reins, and he certainly can. He can just charge him with any kind of spurious violation of DOJ reg up to federal criminal law, and he has minions who seem to be auditioning to be Attorney General, including Eileen Cannon herself, and then Mike Smith, who seems to be playing a kind of a cartoon villain now and acting really extremely, in the most extreme, nasty way, I think in large part because he knows that Trump likes it and it riles up the libs. I don't think he necessarily would act that way as Attorney General. Nevertheless, it's totally clear that Trump will have, especially with a Senate that has at least 52 and maybe 53 Republicans, the ability to put in there whoever he wants, and whoever he wants will be the person who would just do his bidding entirely, including bringing completely meritless charges against political opponents as sheer payback. An absolute dereliction and serious one, a total at the antithesis of what the Department of Justice is supposed to do. But that is now what we've been promised. And whatever Trump does with some of his other promises, it seems to me the reign of terror that he proposes to bring down on his political enemies is going to be front and center, something he holds near and dear and wants to execute as soon as he takes the reins. Okay, so the basic notion here, what do you do with these cases? I think Jack Smith will be looking to close them up more on his own terms, not so chaotically, not so abruptly, somewhat methodically. Who knows what happens to the information? There's no information now that can be hidden from the next Attorney General or the President of the United States, Donald Trump, but even so, it can be preserved in certain ways. The number one question will be whether there's a report that he prepares and that Merrick Garland permits the public to see. And that's a step that Trump will try to stop, but it's not clear that he can. Otherwise, it's a matter of Jack Smith just trying to basically walk before they make him run, do the best that he can with the cases he's developed before Trump comes in and takes a battering ram to them or orders Eileen Cannon or Mike Davis or whoever is the acting attorney general. That's actually a whole nother discussion we should have, because he won't be able to confirm an attorney general immediately, and there are legal restrictions on who can be the acting attorney general, and it's a question of whether he'll be able to find someone to do his bidding before there's a confirmed attorney general. That'll be another issue that I'll discuss in a future YouTube. But for now, look to Jack Smith to wind things down, but possibly do a report that itself will have real political repercussions, even though nothing will now stop Trump from assuming the presidency and abusing the federal prosecutorial power as he wishes, and it seems pretty clear to me that he does so wish. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.